Our story begins on the volcanic world of Mustafar, where rivers of molten lava carve glowing scars across a blackened landscape. Anakin Skywalker stands alone on a Durasteel platform, his Jedi robes tattered, his lightsaber hilt cold in his gloved hand. The air hums with the distant clank of droid patrols, and the weight of his secret mission presses heavier than the planet's oppressive heat. For weeks, he has walked among the Separatists as a trusted ally, his true loyalty to the Jedi Order buried deep beneath a mask of ambition and rage. The Council's plan is audacious. Infiltrate Count Dooku's inner circle, uncover the Sith's endgame, and dismantle the Separatist war machine from within. But as Anakin stares into the fiery rivers below, doubt gnaws at him. Each lie he spins, each battle he fights for the enemy, pulls him closer to a darkness he cannot name. The mission began on Coruscant, in the shadowed chambers of the Jedi Temple. The Clone Wars had stretched the Republic thin, and whispers of a Sith Lord orchestrating the conflict had grown too loud to ignore. Yoda and Mace Windu summoned Anakin, their gazes heavy with trust and caution. They needed someone bold, someone whose passion could pass for defection, someone who could deceive even Dooku himself. Anakin, the chosen one, was their only choice. Obi-Wan Kenobi, his former master, protested, sensing the risk to Anakin's soul, but Anakin accepted without hesitation. The promise of ending the war, of protecting Padme Amidala and the galaxy, burned brighter than his fear. Yet now, on Mustafar, standing among enemies, the line between deception and truth blurs. He wonders if the Jedi truly understand the cost of what they ask. Anakin's journey to the Separatist ranks was no simple feat. The Council orchestrated a public betrayal, a staged clash on Geonosis where Anakin, in a blaze of fury, appeared to turn on Obi-Wan and the clones. His lightsaber carved through droid ranks alongside Asajj Ventress, his defection sealed with a calculated act of violence. The Holonet broadcasted the event across the galaxy, branding him a traitor. Padme, watching from her Coruscant apartment, wept in silence, unaware of the truth. Obi-Wan, nursing wounds from their staged duel, carried the burden of secrecy, his faith in Anakin warring with his fear of losing him. The Jedi Council watched from afar, their trust in Anakin absolute yet fragile, knowing one misstep could unravel everything. On Mustafar, Anakin's role as a Separatist commander begins to take shape. Count Dooku, ever the aristocrat, welcomes him to the fold with a cold smile, sensing the raw power in the young warrior. The Count assigns Anakin to oversee a critical operation, the construction of a massive droid foundry deep within Mustafar's caverns, a facility capable of flooding Republic worlds with endless waves of battle droids. Anakin plays his part flawlessly, issuing orders with a confidence that masks his inner turmoil. He trains alongside Ventress, their duels a clash of fire and shadow, her suspicion of him sharp as her twin blades. General Grievous, a coughing specter of metal and malice, watches Anakin closely, his four arms itching to test the supposed traitor's loyalty. Each day, Anakin walks a razor's edge, feeding encrypted reports to the Jedi via R2-D2, who remains his only confidant in this den of enemies. The emotional toll of the mission weighs heavily. In the quiet hours, when the lava's glow casts flickering shadows across his quarters, Anakin's thoughts drift to Padme. Her face, her voice, her belief in him anchor his resolve, but the distance between them feels like a wound that festers with each lie. He dreams of her, of a life beyond the war, but the dreams twist into nightmares of betrayal, of her discovering his treachery and turning away. His connection to Obi-Wan, once a tether of brotherhood, frays under the strain of silence. Anakin knows Obi-Wan is leading Republic forces against Separatist strongholds, unaware of the full scope of Anakin's mission. The fear of facing his master in battle, of crossing blades in a misunderstanding, haunts him. Yet he presses on, driven by the hope that his deception will save the galaxy. The Separatist foundry on Mustafar becomes the stage for Anakin's first test. Dooku unveils a new weapon, a prototype droid infused with kyber crystals, capable of channeling the Force in devastating bursts. The demonstration is a spectacle of destruction, the droid's energy blasts reducing a test platform to molten slag. Dooku tasks Anakin with leading an assault on the Republic world of Ryloth, using the kyber droids to crush the Twi'lek resistance and draw the Jedi into a trap. Anakin nods, his face a mask of ambition, but his heart races. Ryloth is defended by Jedi Master Aayla Secura and the 327th Star Corps, allies he cannot betray. He sends a coded warning to the Jedi Council through R2-D2, risking exposure, and begins to sabotage the mission from within. The journey to Ryloth is fraught with tension. Ventress, sensing weakness, challenges Anakin to a duel aboard the Separatist flagship, her red blades spinning in a whirlwind of aggression. Anakin counters with precision, his blue lightsaber a blur, but he holds back just enough to avoid killing her, fueling her distrust. Grievous, ever watchful, interrupts the duel, his mechanical claws twitching as he demands Anakin prove his loyalty in the coming battle. The weight of their scrutiny presses on Anakin, but he channels his fear into focus, manipulating the droid foundry's systems to ensure the kyber droids malfunction during the assault. His sabotage is subtle, a flicker in the programming, but it buys the Republic time. On Ryloth, the battle erupts in a storm of fire and dust. Anakin leads the Separatist forces, his starfighter weaving through Twi'lek defenses, but his heart is with the Republic. The kyber droids, as planned, falter, their energy blasts misfiring and destroying Separatist ranks. Aayla Secura, her violet lightsaber a beacon in the chaos, rallies the Twi'leks, unaware of Anakin's role in their survival. From the shadows, Anakin watches her fight, a pang of guilt twisting in his chest. He knows his actions have saved lives, but the cost is his isolation, his identity as a Jedi buried beneath a traitor's mask. As the Separatists retreat, Dooku's voice crackles over the comm, cold and suspicious, ordering Anakin to report to Sereno immediately. The summons to Sereno marks a turning point. Dooku's palace, a fortress of elegance and menace, looms over the planet's misty valleys. Anakin arrives under the weight of scrutiny, his every move watched by Dooku, Ventress, and Grievous. The Count reveals a disturbing truth. The Kyber droid project is not his own design, but the work of a hidden master, a Sith Lord pulling the strings of the war. Anakin's blood runs cold. The Jedi Council's suspicions were correct. Dooku is a pawn, and the true enemy remains in the shadows. Dooku tests Anakin's loyalty, ordering him to execute a captured Republic spy, a young clone trooper named Fives. Anakin hesitates, his hand trembling over his lightsaber, the boy's fearful eyes mirroring his own doubts. In a split-second decision, he spares Fives, staging an escape and sending him back to the Republic with a warning about the Sith. The act of mercy is a risk Anakin cannot afford. Ventress, ever vigilant, reports the incident to Dooku, and the Count's suspicion hardens into certainty. Anakin's cover is fraying, and the Separatist leaders close in, their trust replaced by paranoia. As he navigates the palace's labyrinthine halls, Anakin feels the walls of his deception collapsing. He sends a final, desperate message to the Jedi Council, warning of the Sith Lord and the Kyber droid threat, but the transmission is intercepted. Grievous confronts him in the palace courtyard, 4 lightsabers igniting in a deadly arc. The duel is brutal, Anakin's blue blade clashing against the general's relentless assault, sparks flying across the polished stone. Anakin fights not for victory, but for survival, his every move a desperate bid to escape and warn the Republic. The courtyard of Dooku's palace on Sereno erupts in a storm of light and sound as Anakin Skywalker parries General Grievous's 4 whirling lightsabers. Sparks cascade like molten rain, illuminating the polished stone beneath their feet. Grievous, a mechanical nightmare, presses forward, his claws screeching against the ground, each strike a calculated attempt to overwhelm. Anakin moves with desperate precision, his blue blade a flickering shield, but the strain of his double life pulses through him. Every dodge, every counter is fueled by the fear that his mission, his identity, hangs by a thread. The distant hum of Sereno's waterfalls mocks the chaos, a reminder of the peace Anakin can no longer grasp. Grievous's assault is relentless, but Anakin's sabotage on Ryloth has left the general wary. The cyborg's yellow eyes narrow, sensing betrayal in Anakin's measured strikes. As their blades lock, Grievous hisses accusations of disloyalty, his voice a grating rasp. Anakin's heart pounds, knowing a single misstep could expose him. He channels his fear into a burst of force energy, hurling Grievous back against a marble pillar, the stone cracking under the impact. Seizing the moment, Anakin sprints toward the palace's outer gates, his boots pounding against the courtyard's mosaic tiles. Alarms blare, and droid sentries converge, their blasters painting the air with crimson bolts. Anakin vaults over a low wall, his lightsaber carving through a pair of B-1 battle droids, their metal husks collapsing in a shower of sparks. Escape is fleeting. Asajj Ventress emerges from the shadows, her twin red blades igniting with a sinister hiss. Her movements are liquid, predatory, her pale face twisted with suspicion. She has tracked Anakin since Ryloth, her distrust now a blade aimed at his heart. The duel that follows is a dance of fury, Ventress's acrobatic strikes clashing against Anakin's raw power. She taunts him through the Force, probing for weakness, sensing the conflict within. Anakin fights to maintain his facade, his attacks deliberately brutal to mask his loyalty to the Jedi. Their blades clash atop a narrow bridge spanning a chasm, the misty void below swallowing the echoes of their struggle. Ventress lands a vicious kick, sending Anakin stumbling, his mechanical hand gripping the bridge's edge to avoid a fatal fall. The fight is interrupted by the roar of a gunship. Count Dooku, cloaked in black, descends from the vessel, his presence chilling the air. His curved lightsaber remains unlit, but his gaze pierces Anakin like a vibroblade. Dooku orders Ventress to stand down, his voice smooth yet laced with menace. He questions Anakin's actions, the spared clone, the failed assault on Ryloth, each word a trap. Anakin spins a lie, claiming the clone's escape was a ploy to mislead the Republic, but Dooku's eyes narrow. The Count reveals a chilling truth. The intercepted transmission to the Jedi was traced to Anakin's quarters. The mask of loyalty shatters. Dooku ignites his blade, and Ventress lunges, their combined assault driving Anakin back toward the chasm's edge. Anakin's survival hinges on instinct. He leaps into the mist, the Force guiding his fall to a lower platform. Pain shoots through his legs as he lands, but there is no time to recover. Droid patrols close in, and Anakin sprints through Sereno's labyrinthine streets, the city's spires looming like silent judges. He reaches a hidden alley where R2-D2 waits, the astromech's dome swiveling nervously. Anakin uploads a final message to the Jedi Council, warning of Dooku's knowledge and the Sith Lord's shadow, before hot-wiring a speeder bike and racing toward the city's outskirts. Behind him, Ventress's Force signature burns like a flare, her pursuit unrelenting. The chase weaves through Sereno's canyons, Anakin's bike dodging blaster fire as Ventress's gunship closes the gap. A missile grazes his shoulder, searing his flesh, but he pushes through, his resolve anchored by thoughts of Padme and the Republic. The pursuit ends in a desolate quarry, its jagged cliffs casting long shadows. Anakin abandons the bike, his lightsaber igniting as Ventress lands, her blade spinning in a deadly arc. The duel is ferocious, the quarry's stone walls crumbling under the force of their blows. Anakin's anger flares, not at Ventress, but at the war, the lies, the distance from those he loves. He channels it into a devastating strike, disarming Ventress and pinning her against a boulder. Yet Dooku, ever calculating, senses the ploy. Her eyes blaze with defiance, but Anakin spares her, whispering a warning to flee before Dooku discards her. Ventress hesitates, her loyalty to the Count warring with doubt, before vanishing into the shadows. Anakin collapses, his breath ragged, knowing his cover is all but lost. Far across the galaxy, on Coruscant, Obi-Wan Kenobi receives Anakin's message in the Jedi Temple's war room. The council is gathered, their faces etched with concern. Yoda's eyes close, sensing the darkness closing around the Chosen One. Mace Windu argues for extraction, but Obi-Wan insists on trusting Anakin, his voice steady despite the ache in his chest. The council devises a plan. A Republic assault on the Separatist stronghold of Cato Nemoidia, designed to draw Dooku's forces away and give Anakin a chance to escape. Obi-Wan volunteers to lead the attack, his faith in his former apprentice unshaken, though fear gnaws at him. He knows Anakin's passion, his heart, could be his salvation or his doom. On Cato Nemoidia, the Republic fleet emerges from hyperspace, turbo lasers painting the sky with fire. Obi-Wan, aboard a Venator-class Star Destroyer, coordinates the assault, his blue lightsaber a beacon as he leads clones through the planet's misty bridges. The Separatists, caught off guard, scramble to respond, their droid armies clashing with the 212th Attack Battalion. Aayla Secura and Plo Koon join the fray, their blades carving through droidecas and vulture droids. The battle is a distraction, a desperate bid to pull Dooku's attention from Anakin. From Sereno, he dispatches Grievous to Cato Nemoidia, while he prepares a trap for Anakin, suspecting the Jedi's true allegiance. Anakin, now a fugitive within the Separatist ranks, stows away on a transport bound for Cato Nemoidia, R2-D2 hidden in the cargo hold. The planet's trade spires gleam like jewels against the fog, but the air hums with war. Anakin infiltrates a Separatist command center, his goal to sabotage their communications and cripple their response to the Republic assault. He moves like a shadow, disabling security droids with the Force, his mechanical hand steady despite the pain in his shoulder. The command center is a hive of activity, Newt Gunray's panicked voice echoing as he orders reinforcements. Anakin plants a virus in the system, designed to scramble Separatist signals, but his presence is detected. Grievous arrives, his metal frame towering over the command deck, his lightsabers igniting in a deadly quartet. The duel that follows is a whirlwind of destruction. Grievous's blades spin like a storm, shattering consoles and sending sparks flying. Anakin counters with raw power, his lightsaber a blue inferno, but the general's relentless speed pushes him back. The command center's transparasteel windows crack under the force of their blows, the misty abyss of Cato Nemoidia looming below. Anakin's sabotage takes effect, the Separatist fleet faltering as their communications fail, but Grievous presses the attack, his claws grazing Anakin's side. Blood seeps through his tunic, but Anakin's thoughts turn to Obi-Wan, to Padme, to the galaxy counting on him. With a surge of the Force, he hurls a shattered console at Grievous, buying time to escape through a maintenance shaft. As Anakin emerges onto a narrow bridge spanning 2 trade spires, he senses a familiar presence. Obi-Wan, leading a squad of clones, fights his way toward the command center, unaware that Anakin is near. Their paths converge in a moment of chaos. Republic gunships roaring overhead, droid fighters screaming through the fog. Anakin hesitates, his heart torn between revealing himself and maintaining his cover. Before he can decide, Ventress reappears, her red blades cutting through the mist. She has tracked him, her loyalty to Dooku overriding his earlier mercy. The three-way clash is explosive, Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting back-to-back against Ventress, their movements a seamless harmony despite the secrets between them. Ventress retreats, wounded but alive, leaving Anakin and Obi-Wan in a fleeting moment of reunion. The moment is shattered by Dooku's arrival. The Count descends from a gunship, his red lightsaber igniting with a sinister hum. He knows Anakin's true allegiance, his voice dripping with contempt as he accuses the Jedi of betrayal. Obi-Wan steps forward, ready to protect his brother, but Anakin stops him, his eyes burning with resolve. He must face Dooku alone, to prove his loyalty to the Jedi and end the deception. The duel begins on the bridge, the fog swirling around them, the clash of blue and red blades illuminating the mist. Dooku's elegance meets Anakin's ferocity, each strike a test of will. Obi-Wan watches, his heart heavy, knowing the darkness Anakin courts with every blow. The fog of Cato Nemoidia swirls like a living shroud, as Anakin Skywalker's blue lightsaber clashes against Count Dooku's crimson blade. Sparks erupt, slicing through the mist, each strike a thunderclap on the precarious bridge linking the trade spires. Dooku moves with lethal grace, his attacks precise, probing for weakness. Anakin counters with raw fury, his blows fueled by the weight of his deception, the lives hanging on his mission. Obi-Wan Kenobi stands at the bridge's edge, his own saber unlit, eyes torn between trust and fear. The Republic assault rages below, gunships weaving through blaster fire. But here, on this narrow span, the galaxy's fate teeters. Anakin's heart pounds, not with rage, but with purpose, to end the Sith's shadow and return to those he loves. Dooku's blade grazes Anakin's shoulder, searing flesh, but he spins, driving the Count back with a force push that cracks the bridge's duracrete. The structure groans, swaying in the wind. Dooku sneers, sensing the turmoil within Anakin, and unleashes a torrent of Force lightning. Blue arcs snake through the air, forcing Anakin to his knees, his saber barely deflecting the assault. Pain sears his nerves, but Padme's face flashes in his mind, her belief in him a beacon. With a roar, Anakin surges forward, breaking the lightning's grip, his blade slashing toward Dooku's chest. The Count parries, but the bridge buckles beneath them, sending both warriors tumbling into the misty abyss. They land on a lower platform, the impact jarring Anakin's wounded side. Dooku recovers first, his red blade a blur, but Anakin rolls, igniting his saber mid-spin to block a killing blow. The platform, a maintenance deck, trembles as Republic and Separatist forces clash above. Anakin fights with desperate clarity, each move a step toward redemption. Dooku's elegance falters under Anakin's relentless assault, the Count's face twisting with realization. He accuses Anakin of being the Jedi's pawn, but Anakin's silence speaks louder, his blade carving through Dooku's defenses. A final strike disarms the Count, his lightsaber skittering into the fog. Anakin stands over him, saber poised, but hesitates. Killing Dooku would cement his cover, but it risks the darkness within. The moment shatters as General Grievous descends, his gunship's engines roaring. 4 lightsabers ignite, and the cyborg charges, forcing Anakin to retreat. Dooku seizes the chance, vanishing into the mist, leaving Anakin to face Grievous alone. The general's blades spin like a hurricane, metal claws screeching against the platform. Anakin dodges, his saber a blue streak, but Grievous's sheer speed overwhelms. A claw slashes Anakin's leg, blood pooling on the duracrete. As Grievous raises his blades for the kill, a Republic gunship roars overhead, Obi-Wan leaping from its hatch. His blue saber joins Anakin's, the 2 Jedi fighting in perfect sync, their blades a dance of light against Grievous's onslaught. Aayla Secura and Plo Koon arrive, their sabers blazing, turning the tide. Grievous, wounded, flees to his ship, his parting snarl a promise of vengeance. Anakin collapses, his breath ragged, wounds burning. Obi-Wan kneels beside him, relief and worry etched on his face. There is no time for words. The Separatist command center, now crippled by Anakin's virus, falls to Republic forces, but Dooku's escape signals a greater threat. Anakin reveals the truth to Obi-Wan. The Sith Lord, Darth Sidious, orchestrates the war, and Dooku is his pawn. The Jedi Council, receiving Anakin's earlier warnings, convenes on Coruscant. Yoda's voice is grave, sensing the darkness closing in. Mace Windu proposes a desperate plan: lure Sidious into the open by leaking false intelligence about a Jedi assault on Sereno. Anakin, his cover blown, must return to the Separatists one last time, posing as a double agent to draw Sidious out. Obi-Wan protests, but Anakin accepts, his resolve steel. He thinks of Padme, of the galaxy's hope, and knows he must finish this. Anakin's return to the Separatists is a descent into peril. On Mustafar, where his mission began, he faces Dooku in a volcanic chamber, the air thick with ash and heat. The Count, now aware of Sidious's manipulations, is a man torn, his loyalty to the Sith fraying. He offers Anakin a twisted alliance, a chance to overthrow Sidious together, but Anakin refuses, his saber igniting. The duel is cataclysmic, lava rivers casting a hellish glow as blue and red blades collide. Dooku's strikes are desperate, his elegance replaced by rage. Anakin fights not for vengeance but for truth, his every blow a rejection of the Sith's lies. He disarms Dooku, pinning him against a molten wall but spares his life, demanding answers. Dooku, broken, reveals Sidious's identity. Chancellor Palpatine, the architect of the war. The revelation is a blade to Anakin's heart. The man who mentored him, who stood beside Padme in the Senate, is the galaxy's greatest betrayer. Before Anakin can act, the chamber trembles, and Sidious emerges from the shadows, his red blades hissing to life. The Sith Lord's presence is a void, swallowing light and hope. Dooku, realizing his own betrayal, lunges at Sidious, but a blast of lightning reduces him to ash. Anakin faces Sidious alone, his saber a defiant flare in the darkness. The duel erupts, Anakin's blue blade clashing against Sidious's twin crimson arcs. The Sith Lord moves like a phantom, lightning crackling, each strike a test of Anakin's soul. Lava erupts around them, platforms collapsing, the chamber a crucible of fire and fate. Anakin's wounds slow him, blood dripping into the ash, but his will burns brighter. He thinks of Padme's courage, Obi-Wan's faith, the clone's sacrifice. Sidious taunts him, offering power, a galaxy ruled by strength, but Anakin rejects it, his saber slashing through the Sith's defenses. The chamber's core, a volatile reactor, pulses dangerously. Anakin, sensing his chance, hurls Sidious back with the Force, then leaps, driving his blade toward the Sith's heart. Sidious counters, lightning engulfing Anakin, pain blinding him. In a final act, Anakin redirects the lightning into the reactor, the explosion consuming the chamber in a white-hot surge. Sidious's scream is swallowed by the blast, his body incinerated. Anakin, scorched and broken, collapses, the fire claiming him as the chamber crumbles. On Coruscant, Obi-Wan feels the tremor in the Force, his heart shattering. The Jedi Council, led by Yoda and Windu, uncovers Sidious's files, exposing his manipulation of the war. Padme, returning from a diplomatic mission, learns of Anakin's sacrifice, her grief tempered by pride. The galaxy reels, the truth of Palpatine's betrayal sparking chaos. Bail Organa and Mon Mothma call for unity, while Padme addresses the Senate, her voice steady, echoing Anakin's hope for peace. The Separatists, leaderless, fracture, their fleets surrendering as Republic forces secure key worlds. On Tatooine, Obi-Wan buries Anakin's lightsaber beside Shmi's grave, a silent tribute to the brother he lost. Years pass, and the galaxy heals. The Republic reforms, its Senate cleansed of corruption, led by Chancellor Organa and Senator Amidala. The Jedi Order, humbled, embraces a new path, guided by Obi-Wan and Ahsoka Tano, who returns to train a generation unbound by fear. Temples rise on Alderaan, Naboo, worlds where peace endures. Padme, now a mother, names her son Luke, whispering Anakin's name as she watches him play, his eyes carrying his father's fire. The Clone Wars fade into memory, a scar that strengthens rather than divides. The Force flows freely, its balance restored by the Chosen One's final act. And folks, that's our story. Writing Anakin as a spy was a thrill, balancing his heart and his darkness in a galaxy on the brink. I hope you felt the fire of his journey. Let me know what you think, hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next video.